All right, let's get into round three of Crawford versus Gamboa. It's been pretty neat to see the game plans they're both trying to employ.
Championship of the world, WBO version on the line. Both of these guys 23-0. Both have 16.
So Crawford's in his high guard, Gamboa's going to fold out this jab. Now, one thing to note, Gamboa's head's over his lead foot, so when Crawford counters with his rear straight, Gamboa has somewhere to pull to. Now, he's going to immediately bob down, getting under Crawford's lead. Now, this looks minor, but it's technical. Since Gamboa bobbed down over that lead foot, all his weight is there, which gives him the ability to step this rear foot forward. It also helps to be stepping on Crawford's foot. He's going to pivot, throw this overhand, just high-level stuff.
Knockouts. Gamboa.
Okay, Gamboa's going to do a little pendulum step. Now, once he lands, he's going to push off this rear foot with his lead hook catching Crawford. Now, what I want to hone in is on Crawford. Notice how he pulled square, which gives him access to this check hook. Then we'll have a tie-up and a break. They'll go ahead and reset. See some feints and some movement.
Looks like he's going to put the pedal to the pedal in this round.
I think he came out of the last round feeling good about himself, that maybe he found the formula to deal with the upright Crawford and all of his advantages.
Now Crawford got to this lead foot. He's going to snap off his jab as Gamboa pulls. Now Crawford's going to feint his lead. He's going to come around with this lead hook. I'm going to see Gamboa pull a second time. Now he's going to go ahead and drop in case this rear cross from Crawford comes. Gamboa's going to flash his lead, push off this rear foot, throwing a rear cross to the body as Crawford pulls square. So Gamboa will get to this lead foot, he'll pendulum, and as soon as this rear foot lands, he'll push off with a lead hook, and we're going to see Crawford move to his lead foot. Gamboa looks to tie up. Crawford will drop his elbow, and then he's going to go ahead and take an overhook with his lead right here. Then we're going to have a break, some feints, pendulum by Crawford, another one.
Gamboa seems very strong. Pushing badly, doesn't give any ground.
So Crawford will feint his lead, then commit, and Gamboa is going to time him going to the body. Now right here, Gamboa needs to get out of dodge. Note, his head is towards his lead foot. Crawford's going to throw his rear cross, and we're going to see Gamboa push off this lead foot to his rear foot. Love it.
Terrence loads up the right.
Okay, Gamboa's lead hand is high. He'll do a rear foot step up right here. Now he's going to go ahead and push off this rear foot, flash this lead, and as soon as this lead foot lands, he's going to throw a rear cross to the body as Crawford pulls square. Now this is slick by Gamboa. Crawford gets back to this lead foot. Gamboa's going to throw a leaping hook, but let's hone in on Crawford. He's going to roll with it, catching it on his lead foot. Then Gamboa is going to follow up with the rear cross, and Crawford is going to roll with it and catch it on his rear foot. Now, Crawford on the third beat is looking to counter with a rear uppercut, but Gamboa transitions quicker with this short hook. Super slick. In fact, I think we'll get a little smile from Crawford right here.
You saw what happened, whistling past the ear.
It is.
Now Gamboa will fold out a jab and another one. Now he's going to push off this rear foot, throw a rear cross as Crawford looks for his lead parry. Little pendulum by Crawford and a hook by Gamboa.
Example, Colonel, that I was talking about earlier, that when a fighter suddenly needs somebody who might be a little...
All right, Crawford's going to snap off a jab. We're going to see Gamboa use his rear and lead parry. Then Crawford's going to double it up, and we're going to see a rear parry by Gamboa. Now Gamboa's going to flash his lead, push off this rear foot for a rear cross to the body. And again, we're going to see Crawford pull square, loading this lead hook right here. And we're going to see Gamboa weave to his rear foot and then pendulum off this rear foot to get away from Crawford's rear cross.
A little quicker than him, or as quick, suddenly.
So Gamboa's going to swing his rear foot around and throw a leaping hook as Crawford looks to time him with this overhand. Gamboa follows up with a rear cross. And then he's going to go ahead and snap out a jab as Crawford pulls. And something to chew on, notice Crawford's pulling to his left into a southpaw stance. Gamboa's going to double it up, and Crawford looks for his check hook. We'll have a tie-up in the open stance. And we see Crawford showing southpaw. There's the break.
The picture changes. Good right hand on the inside, but didn't hurt Gamboa.
Gamboa landed some flush shots in there too.
Okay, so Gamboa flashes lead, throws rear cross as Crawford pulls square to throw this check hook. And we're going to see Gamboa bob down over that lead foot. Crawford's going to look for his rear cross. Then we're going to have a tie-up, a break, back to that open stance.
Crawford elects to go for a southpaw for a couple of seconds, and he gets whacked.
Yep. Gamboa is beating him to the punch.
Literally.
Now Crawford will throw his jab rear cross as Gamboa pulls, then drops. Now, one thing to note, since Gamboa's weight is on his rear foot, it allows him to step with this lead foot. All right, Gamboa's going to flash his lead, throw his rear cross as Crawford pulls square, looking for this check hook. Then the ref gets in the way.
Gamboa lands a...
So here's a new wrinkle from Crawford and Gamboa. Gamboa's going to throw his rear cross, and this time Crawford's going to pull bladed, come back with his rear hook, then lead. But let's go ahead and hone in on Gamboa. He's stepping through with his rear foot to throw another rear cross. Then Gamboa looks to tie up, and Crawford says no.
Light right and then a decent left hand. And this left-handed style, to me, is not working for Terrence right now.
Okay, so Crawford jabs as Gamboa drops, and then Gamboa's going to shift his head over his lead foot as Crawford throws this rear straight. Now, something to chew on, since his weight is over his lead foot, Gamboa can step this lead foot forward.
Cheekbone.
Now, we've seen Gamboa flash his lead before throwing his rear cross. Well, this time, he just throws that rear cross naked.
A little bit puffy on the face of Gamboa.
All right, Gamboa load this lead foot, throwing his leaping hook as Crawford gets stuck on his lead foot. Then we'll see a little pendulum by Crawford. They'll reset and more movement.
Gamboa so far. Decent left hand landed by Gamboa. I think Terrence is better defense.
So Crawford will jab as Gamboa pulls, then drops. Some more movement.
When he fights right-handed.
Okay, Crawford will get to his lead foot, fold out his rear straight as Gamboa pulls. Now Gamboa flash that jab, throw a rear hook as Crawford pulls square. Crawford's going to move to his rear foot, then lead foot, then rear foot, and Gamboa is going to follow him back with this rear cross.
Gamboa having a really good round. Landed it.
All right, Crawford will jab as Gamboa drops. Again, moving that head to his lead foot so he can step that rear foot up. Then we're going to see some feints.
Solid punch there.
So Crawford will jab, but let's hone in on Gamboa. His head's over that lead foot. He's going to pull. And then we're going to see that same thing a second time right here. Now check this out. Gamboa is going to do a rear hand cover, moving to that lead foot in case a rear hook from Crawford should come. Okay, Gamboa look for his rear cross as Crawford pulls square, looking for this check hook.
Closing seconds of the third round.
Now this is neat. Gamboa is going to get to this lead foot, feint this leaping hook as Crawford pulls square. Now once Gamboa's rear foot lands, he'll throw this rear hook as Crawford looks to time him with his lead. Now Crawford's going to counter with this rear body shot right here. And then Gamboa is going to counter. And then we're going to see some feints. And that's it for round 3.
They exchange shots, but I think Gamboa get the better of it.